there might be some of you who look up to me and think that I have the perfect life, but let me just say that everyone is going through some shit in their life that's not as perfect or as glamorous as it seems. I do not want to film this video again. I've tried filming this at least 4 times now, and every time I just hate it. Hey guys, it's Allie. I feel like it's been forever since I've sat down and just talked to you guys, and I wanted to do a little update on why I quit YouTube for about 2.5 months. This video is super hard for me to make because there's something weird about being vulnerable on the internet that's really difficult. So I broke up the video in different parts. The first part is how am I doing? Starting in December, I started developing this kind of like tingly and numbness in my arms and in my hands, and at first I wasn't really sure what it was. I have carpal tunnel in my hands, and what that means is the median nerve in my wrists are inflamed and my hands are tingly and numb, and it just pretty much feels like pins and needles in my fingers, especially in my ring finger, pointy finger, and my thumb. And how that happens is through any like repetitive action. So I still edit all of my YouTube videos, all of my social videos for the most part. The scarier part about this is if I don't treat it, I can permanently lose sensation to my hands. And as a full-time content creator, the person who edits all of my YouTube videos, it just makes me sad because this type of injury is debilitating, and like I love what I do, and it just makes me feel super emotional that I'm not able to work on my art and craft my videos. So I have to take this break for myself, for my own health. Just editing YouTube videos in itself takes anywhere between like 20 to 30 hours at a time, and I'm at my desk for really long periods. I'm just constantly sitting there. I have really bad posture. I already know that. I'm just like hunched over my desk. From like all the years of being on YouTube, I can't believe I'm reaching my 11th year. I feel like I'm gonna cry just because it's just been that type of week where it's been super emotional, and everything that I think about just makes me really want to cry. Like, I don't want this video to come off like I'm complaining, and I'm very, very grateful for everything that I have in my life, and for the most part my good health has always been something that I've been really grateful for. But 2020 has definitely been a shock to us all, not just the pandemic, but the Black Lives Matter movement. It's been a lot. And on top of that, the injury just really takes the cake. So for me, I've been really struggling to even work from home, and I know it's a huge blessing to be able to do that, and I am so grateful to each and every single one of you who is watching this video right now. Like, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I am so grateful for you. You've helped me through a lot of my toughest moments. I think for a while now I've been dealing with some pretty bad anxiety, and I wouldn't say depression because I haven't been clinically diagnosed. I haven't talked to a doctor, but anxiety runs in my family. I see it a lot in my grandma. So how has COVID-19 affected my family? In my whole family, no one has gone sick, so I'm really grateful for that. Everyone has been pretty healthy for the most part. For those of you who don't know, I live with my family in San Francisco. So that's my dad, my mom, and my grandma, who's 93 years old. So during the beginning of COVID and quarantine, it was pretty scary. I was scared that I would get my grandma sick, and I stayed away from her for a few weeks. She was really lonely. She wasn't able to go get dim sum like we usually do, go on her daily walks. Like, she's pretty independent on her own, but she was pretty much left alone. So I can't begin to imagine how any of you who are just kind of going through this pandemic alone, how you're feeling. Another huge challenge that we've been going through is my mom has been out of work for a few months. I've been helping her with all of the online EDD forms, so all of the government forms to help her get paid, and she wasn't paid for almost 2.5 months, and it was pretty stressful, to be honest. I had no idea what I was doing wrong. Felt like I was failing her as a daughter. She knew that something had gone wrong, but she didn't know how to fix it. And when you're an immigrant in the US and you don't speak the language very well, it's hard to ask for help. So my parents depend on me a lot for handling the bills, translating, everyday tasks, things that they don't understand. Like, it falls onto me, which is a lot of pressure. And I've been helping out my parents as early as I could remember. When I could read, help translate, like that was me or my sister. So my sister is currently living in LA and she's a nurse. Luckily, she's been healthy and I'm so happy that she's safe. So we're good on my family's front, but it's been really hard because a goal of mine this year was to eventually move out. I'm 28 years old. I know in American culture, at least, there's this type of shame that you feel when you move back home with your parents. So there's two ways you can look at it. When you first graduate from college, you want to move back home with your parents so you can save some money. Maybe you're not working a stable job, or you just want to save some money, to be honest, and that's great. But it's been a couple years now and I feel like it's stunted my growth. I want some place to just call my own. Part of being American and being Asian, that's really difficult. So the American side is like, no, you gotta move out as soon as possible. The Asian side is you owe it to your parents who immigrated all the way from China to help them out, to help them with bills, and to be there for them, especially if your environment looks the same and all of your decor is still the same stuff that you had from middle school or high school. The best thing that I did for myself was just renovating the whole space and painting my walls into a new or different color, changing the decor just so I could feel like mentally I was in a different place even though I was still at home. So it's really nothing to feel ashamed about because we're all just on this journey, and maybe it's just a temporary fix or maybe it's more permanent. And the one thing that has helped me the most was just some of the DMs that you've sent me on Instagram, and just how many of you who live in Asian countries can relate to how I'm going through, because it's way more common than you think. A lot of families live in multi-generational households where you have your grandparents, your mom, your dad, maybe you live there with your kids. Like, it's totally common. It's just here in the US, people value independence a lot more. Moving out, such a huge deal, which is why like going off to college is so important and just a huge milestone. Eventually around September, I think I'll be moving in with Scott, so it'll be a really exciting next chapter of my life. And I've just been kind of like fake living with my boyfriend, which is kind of weird to say, but if you're in a similar situation, you totally understand. Another thing that has been super stressful is Scott is Canadian and he's been going through the immigration process, and ever since the pandemic started, all of the offices have been closed. We had this grand plan this year where we would be able to finally move and travel, but unfortunately with everything that's going on, he hasn't heard back from the government yet on when the interview would happen or when he would get the green card, so everything is up in the air again. Where I'm at in terms of my mental health hasn't been very great. I've just been feeling a lot of highs and lows. Comparison is the thief of joy. I couldn't even get myself to watch YouTube videos because I would compare myself as like an OG YouTuber who's been here for a while now, and just seeing all of the successes that my friends were going through A lot of people were buying houses, getting engaged, getting a job that they really loved, or like a campaign that they really loved. There might be some of you who look up to me and think that I have the perfect life, but let me just say that everyone is going through some shit in their life that's not as perfect or as glamorous as it seems. I know Instagram is probably one of the worst places. Everything looks picture perfect and beautiful and curated, and let me just say that life is not like that. It's really funny. A lot of the successes that we go through, I feel like we kind of glamorize it. The way that I became successful on YouTube was through a lot of hard work, grinding, late nights, and that kind of lifestyle is unsustainable. I am approaching my 30s and I cannot pull an all-nighter anymore. Like, look at me, I'm in a freaking race. I'm definitely not going to be able to do that in terms of myself. And like running my own business and being a smart entrepreneur is to finally let go of my grip on a lot of things. The entire quarantine has been extremely stressful for me because I've been feeling this pressure of creating more and more content, but I've been feeling super burned out for probably a year now. And I remember during 2019 when I saw people posting about their burnout, I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. I could totally relate to that. I'm feeling all of the symptoms that they're going through, but just me being Asian, I just kept it to myself, did not want to share it with anyone because that was just me admitting my weakness, and I didn't want anyone to see that side of me. Like, I don't know if I want to share this part of my life with the internet because my YouTube channel has always been a place of positivity and creativity, and lately, honestly, I've been feeling neither. So here is where I want to go with my YouTube channel. I have a few goals for myself, and I just want to be more open and honest with you and be my authentic self. This year, I really want to be able to share life moments with you, things that I'm actually going through, because the reason why I started my YouTube channel was not just because I love fashion. Like, we all know I love fashion because it's near and dear to my heart. I grew up around my dad who worked in a sewing factory. The reason why I love YouTube right now is just this form of connection. As a creator, I feel like I've boxed myself into just creating fashion and photography content and just constantly feeling like I have to be on and sharing tips and tricks, which is fine if you're here for that, but I'm human and I've always wanted to share more vlogs, daily life with you. Sometimes I can't even watch my own content because I just can't relate to it anymore, and I feel like I'm just pulling things out of thin air that don't make sense. My channel to be more about sustainability, how to be more eco-friendly. I still love fashion. Like, every once in a while I'll still want to do lookbooks. I don't think I'm ready to give up yet. I feel like that sparkle in me is no longer there, so I really need to dig deep and find that again. Another thing I've been considering is going to therapy. My friends approached me and said that they were thinking about going to therapy. I'd be all for it, which is very ironic because I feel like I am my worst critic. I am so hard on myself, and it just comes from just having Asian parents who just give you tough love. So I feel like my inner voice is also really tough on myself, and I don't like that, and I don't like being so unkind all the time. Like, I look at my journal and I read back on some of the things that I've written and I hate it. Like, why am I so negative? Even during some of my best years on YouTube, where I just felt like I was on a roll and I felt super connected with you guys, I was still in a really unhealthy mental state. So in the meantime, I hope that this video has just shined some light on where I've been at mentally, and I hope that it helped you out if you were going through something similar to me. And I just wanted to say again, thank you so much for being here on my YouTube channel and just supporting me all of these years. I am just so grateful for each and every single one of you. And I'm just so proud of myself for not crying today, because I've been crying every single day for the last few days in this like really ugly kind of crying, and I'm so glad I didn't do that. But it still does make me a little sad that I can't work on my videos like I used to, and it's probably for the best anyways, because like no one can go on for 10 years doing the exact same thing and still expect to be the exact same person. Like we all have to grow and evolve and become better. So that's where I'm at, and thanks again for watching. I love you guys.